Are we on the air?
And we're back. This is Third Coast Radio. Man, Kamikaze the King making in the building. In here with the cool kids. Kayla Renee is on assignment again.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Tonight.
get on the side of the road.
Well,
Cause she
What?
be
we'll talk about that, yeah. She's been on assignment a whole lot,
Trying to
actually.
get-
So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's
Feel
time to send one of you guys on assignment. But you have to come back, though, once you go. You got to come back. It's all good. At any rate, as promised a little bit earlier today, man, we have got Maleah Dawn in the studio.
Yeah! In here!
Back in here once again. She has been with us once before. This is actually her second appearance on Third Coast Radio. And when she was with us before, it was during the, kind of like a little bit after COVID.
Yeah, hard times.
While Studio A was being built.
Uh-huh.
And we couldn't come over here, and we were excommunicated. We actually went from the closet to outside the whole building.
Outside
It wasn't
the whole
even,
building.
the come up was not immediate.
Nah.
We was in the closet at first, and then we got kicked out the whole building. Yeah, so we had to actually come back in the building, but now we're in the luxurious
Studio.
studio. I don't know if luxurious is the word I want to use there, but we're in the,
Luxurious me.
to be honest.
we're in Studio A, of course, and I'm sure that you, Maleah, I'm sure you're seeing the come up here. You like the new dig? You like the new dig?
Like the space.
It very much spacious.
Yes, a lot of leg room. Was not a lot of leg room when you were with us before. Yeah.
Nah, it was tight.
There's a lot
It's
of
real-
really
Yeah. it
I
was real
felt the
snug.
process on my knee. I don't know what it was that was coming.
There you go.
I
There you
felt
go.
it on my left knee.
There you go. So we got you back in here. You got some brand new music actually that you sent us. So we're here to talk about that. Let's talk about the new music, man. Since you have been on Third Coast Radio last, what have you had going on? What's been happening? And tell us, what you got going on right now as we speak.
Okay, so since the last time I was here, that was February 2022, I want to say, right after doing Third Coast Radio, the kickback with you all.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, I've done, I want to say, like 4 features and 2 singles of my own since then. And most of them came like from October, November, December, and then this past month, January. I want to say a lot of those were really just like working with my friends. So you will see like hip hop. One of them I felt like it was more like kind of dancey. I did some work with Just Legacy, like doing background vocals on some of his work for his project. Thomas Austin,
Yeah.
that kid Kerr, like just working with people that I know, and trying to just further cultivate those relationships. And the singles of my own I released, God Help Me, which is kind of like a cover / interpolation of We Don't Have to Talk About It by Snow Allegra from that production.
Okay.
And You Played Yourself just came out in January, like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so that one is more so about kind of the back and forth that goes within my mind when things get really overwhelming. And at times, especially since I'm in college, you feel like you don't want to like bother anybody else. And so you take on so much of your own issues plus other people's, and it gets to a point where it's like, I should have just asked for help. I should have just said something to somebody.
College is actually the time when you're supposed to bother. other
I
people.
know. It's
Exactly.
like
You won't really figure it out until
till after,
later
probably,
on.
yeah.
Yeah, but you definitely should do that. So, in working with a lot of the people from the creative community around here, and a lot of people that you named have been on the kickback, that kid Kurt, Thomas Austin, all great artists in their own right. All of you guys perform for Jackson the Music Week as well. We'll talk about that in a second. But talk about how these collaborations work, and talk about just the conversations that lead up to you guys working together. How does that happen, organically, or that y'all just talking and saying, hey, let's do a song together? Are they reaching out to you? How's that working?
Yeah, I feel they're all very organic. With I want to say at least 3 of them, like with That Kid Kerr, Just Legacy. We're both in that. We're all 3 of us are in Outspoken Arts Collective together at Jackson State, and so that's where I met them. And through being in that the last year, watching them perform, them coming to my performances, like just supporting each other mutually, it just kind of grew into, I'll send you this song, would you like to get on this? And it kind of really happened over the summer, I think, and they came out in the fall. And Thomas, I met him when I did the kickback, and so after that, we just stayed in contact, and we did a studio session, and just got to work.
That's dope. That's really dope.
I had the question in my head, but then all of a sudden, I don't know why I was thinking about juggling, like an actual clown juggling.
Yeah.
But anyway, how do you juggle college life with your rising career?
I think it's still something that I'm figuring out, that balance, because just college alone is a lot to just deal with, and being active on campus, being in organizations, having a part-time like internship, work study, all those things, it just builds up. I think it just more so goes into me being more intentional about prioritizing and like making sure I'm going to like the studio weekly, I'm writing weekly, I'm recording and sending references back and forth to people so that I can still create music. So just being more intentional.
What are you studying in Jackson State?
Social science, concentration in ethnic studies.
Okay.
What are you planning on doing with that?
Personally, I just want to get into more research and figuring out ways to like pinpoint issues and creating actual solutions to them. Something that I really care about, and also
Pinpointing issues on what particular?
well, ethnic studies is more so like the study of different ethnic groups in America and their kind of what those issues are within those communities and the connection to the United States. And so pinpointing those areas specifically for my community as far as African Americans, and creating my lifelong goal really is to create like a resource hub more so for youth, one where they can be educated with history and given the tools to like express themselves through the arts. And so that's like a nonprofit type of thing that I want to build. And I feel like knowing more about just different groups, communities, having a better understanding of people overall will allow me and equip me with the tools to do that.
Now, I asked you that question because I wanted to get to this point and you got me there. So growing up in a place like Mississippi and being an artist in Mississippi and having ethnic studies be something that you are targeting and all the things that you're talking about, what do you think sets us apart, from other places? We're not just talking about creatively, but what sets us apart as a people of all ethnicities in the state of Mississippi?
I feel like the drive and the hunger is different. When you come from a place like Mississippi, a lot of things that you will see in other like cities and you would like hope like there would be here, it isn't here. And so it creates innovation and it inspires you to really create something for yourself and to want to do something the way people younger than you won't have to experience that. And so like I know places like Stupa, like their after school care program, and like for the teens and for the youth, I feel like that's a very instrumental place where they're pairing you up with mentors, they're helping with homework, they're connecting you with resources. And so I feel like just more places that actually help people with real problems, I think that's one of the solutions.
Yeah.
So I know that when it comes to picking your majors for college, it's always difficult. I changed mine like 3 times. I settled on journalism. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So picking something like that, and let's really talk about it because there's a lot of things that are going on in this world that happens to a lot of us in the Black community, where things happen and like you said, there are no solutions for them. So what would you say, or have you had some experiences or things like that that have made you want to kind of follow suit into this degree and everything for your studies?
Yeah, definitely. I would say like I feel middle school, the end of middle school to high school is kind of where like that light bulb went off, specifically within like those history courses, those social studies courses, and having teachers that I could tell were passionate about what they were teaching and that wanted to not just teach straight from the book, but give us additional tools to look at and go beyond what is just standard and standardized testing. And so I think those moments, those classes sparked just to be more intrigued by it. And of course, just seeing current events, you want to know more. Questions just keep coming up. And so desire to just research and learn more as much as I can. The way, one, I'll be knowledgeable on what it is and have the reference to go back to, and then be just better able to pinpoint things and better to articulate it, and then connect with people who can do something about it.
So being a younger artist, this new generation, and I kind of want to tell back because you were at the viewing of the documentary at Jackson State that Chuck D did, and you asked a question, and watching, that documentary and watching, the origins of hip hop, and then you doing music yourself, how do you feel like that origin story and those beginnings, how do you think that can be connected, and how do we make younger artists like yourself who are just beginning their careers connect with that origin? And a lot of times there's a schism that exists there.
Well, I feel like for me, like where I started to see that connection is one, like through like different shows. Like I know Netflix had the Get Down, that show, but even before that, just kind of watching interviews of artists that you like, and you will hear them talk about who their influences are. And so like I kind of like doing this train of influencing who influenced this person and this person. I do it like with singers and just with rappers, just to see, because you can hear that sound in them once you hear them say it. And so I feel like going through that train of thought and listening to the people that you like and sometimes emulate without knowing, they'll talk about what hip-hop is or how it came to be and just the art of sampling. And I feel like that in another way just keeps like music alive because you're reinterpreting something. And I feel like through conversations, through even just premieres, like what that event was, more media attention or just multimedia productions on what happened and just spreading that. I feel like it could just help just to connect the story more and to bring it back to the forefront of our minds so it won't get forgotten. It won't be in the past.
Cool. So what's next for Maleah Dawn? You got the new single that we are definitely going to be jamming here on today, and some of the other music as well that you have brought us. But what's next on the horizon? What else you got going on?
Yeah, so currently I'm working on my first project, so an EP to come out later this year. And additionally, just working to do more performances outside of like campus at JSU. Just more so establishing like visuals as well this year, and furthering what the sound that is that I want to curate.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about Outspoken the last time that you were here, and you talked about working with the artists in Outspoken. For those who missed that interview and are listening now, Outspoken has produced a lot of artists that are currently in our community that are coming off the campus of Jackson State, which is appropriate because it's the greatest HBCU in all of the land, absolutely. But outside of that, the people that have come out of Outspoken that are in this scene that you know about, just right off the bat.
Yeah, off the bat, I mean, I have to go with the two that I heard first and saw first, and that would be Dev Mac and Vitamin C. Those were the two that I heard, and when I was like early on trying to figure out how I would pursue singing and songwriting as what would be my career, I heard their voices, I listened to their music. I feel like I might have studied them, like not coincidentally, but like subconsciously I probably studied them because seeing them and knowing they're from Mississippi and producing the quality of work that they put out, it was very admirable and it was inspiring. So Vitamin C, Dev Mac.
That's dope. Was you about to say something?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Very much.
Absolutely.
Very much so.
Well, Outspoken has, even before them, Outspoken has churned out a lot of people. Yeah. And so shouts out to Outspoken over at JSU as well, churning out some artists. So yeah, the lineage is there, of course. So I gotta ask you before we get out of here, you still like the oatmeal? Huh?
Oatmeal extraordinaire.
I do.
You still with the oatmeal?
I had a bowl. Yeah, I don't know if it was this morning, but I had one yesterday.
So you eat a bowl every day?
Not every day, not as frequently as I did pandemic season,
I
but
got
we still get our oats very, very frequently.
All right, well, you like oatmeal, I guess that's the thing. That's cool. Shouts out to all the oatmeal lovers out there. Maleah Dawn
Oatmeal lovers, come on.
Doing the thing out there. All 12, 13, 14 of you guys out there.